What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of January 3rd through the 9th of 2022. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. It always takes a while for me to get used to saying the year change. Like when you say 2021 for 365 days, you get pretty used to saying 2021. And maybe that's just where this is kicking off as we are in this new calendar year, and there are so many things that are changing and so many things that are starting, and it's about adapting, right? So we always have to adapt when the calendar year changes, whether it's writing out a date. I remember in school, that was the big thing. I would always be writing a paper and like put my name and date on it, and it's not that year anymore. Same with these, I guess. But there's certain aspects of life that we're really starting to get this big push, and there's a lot of forward momentum this week as we do start things, as we do maybe with their New Year's resolutions, maybe they're just new desires, maybe that's what a lot of this Venus retrograde is showing us within ourselves, and Venus with Pluto, like so much has been brought up from the depths of our emotion and what we want to create and manifest and really love in our life right now. And I think that this is that week where, it's all about whatever that is inside of you that's giving you that strong pull. This is about the initiation of that. And I think that, this is one of my favorite kind of weeks of the year in many ways. It's not super harsh. Like we do get, we get a new moon, of course, on Sunday in Capricorn at 12 degrees. And then just right after that, the moon's going to meet up with Venus. It's going to meet up with Pluto. It's going to meet up with Saturn. It's going to meet up with Jupiter. It's going to meet up with Neptune. It's going to meet up and finish with Chiron and then square the sun on Sunday for the first quarter square. There's just a lot of this, like, there are things that need to get done. There's been intent. There has been feelings. There has been so much. And a lot of it comes to, of course, Capricorn energy. What do you really want? What do you really want to do with your life? What is the mission? What do you want to achieve? So much of this is about that. And it starts, of course, within ourselves. And we even have a Mercury in shadow. And Mercury is going to go retrograde at 10 degrees of Aquarius on January 14th. So Mercury's really starting to hit the brakes this week. So we're starting to already see, like, okay, the mind's been out in front of our heart, out in front of the sun for a long time. And we're going to have to start realizing and slowing that mind down to really connect all the dots. And it's not so much about this, gosh, we've been thinking so much. It has been such an 18 months of thinking. And we are just a couple weeks away on January 18th of having the nodes change signs and ingress into Taurus and Scorpio, and that's going to be a big shift. But we're wrapping up this week and next week with kind of like getting ready to go into that, feeling axis. It really is like Taurus and Scorpio. Of course, Scorpio, fixed water. Like this is really holding on to what we want in our emotions, and that's going to be where the South Node's at. So we're coming into that illusionary aspect of paying too much attention to everybody else's psychological issues in life, paying attention too much to what somebody else has that you don't have, paying attention too much to what somebody else formed a belief on over the South Node in Sag that you don't believe, and really coming back into just your thoughts, your channel, your focus, and then your feelings about what it is, because this week is such an initiating force. There can be a lot this week if we take action for that can bring a huge stream of momentum, like huge stream. And I guess that can always be different for everybody, but for the ones out there that are really feeling like a new year is here and a change has to be made for something better, a higher achievement, a higher accolade that matches your high character, your high vibration, your high standards, this is that energy big time. And I love that. And of course we get a Venus retrograde Cazimi with the sun this week at 18 degrees of Capricorn. And, I always look forward to Cazimi moments because from a heliocentric look at this, it is, especially with Mercury and Venus, it is when they are closest to the Earth in retrograde, and it is when they are in transit passing the Earth. So they're in between the earth and in between the sun. And the sun would be our conscious light and this great expression. And it really is this Capricorn energy right now of, well, what are you going to do to get further? What are you going to take on in your life to have more? What are you working for in life? Of course, that can go many different routes. I'm not here to tell somebody what to work for. This is where you got to get really in tune with how you feel. Like, enough thoughts have been figured, thought about or contemplated or figured out over this time, that this is really where you got to trust your inner guidance, your inner value system. What do you really want? And that's where Venus retrograde in itself is like, okay, there's plenty of things that we have to relate to in life, whether it's another person, a partner, a job, anything. This is about relating to what you really want, your highest potential, your destiny. And this is where the sun in this Cazimi moment is burning these dedications, these desires, these ways to creatively activate what it is you're looking to do. And if you use this energy, source, God energy is coming through in a very powerful way to physically with Capricorn, physically with Venus, show you how to create these manifestations, how to create these achievements that you're reaching for right now, because this is a time of reaching. This is like, the holidays are over in Capricorn season, and we get into the second decan of Capricorn. We get into the third over these next couple weeks. But this week, we're just in that middle second decan. And this is really about you and what you're doing with what you want, with what you feel, with what you desire. And are you ready to create it? Are you ready to own it? A lot of this is about owning up to that high character, all those activations, all the amazing things that you've awakened to in your life. This is a part in our journey where we're all like, mission activated, here we go. And it might seem like things I feel like for some people, they could be manifesting lightning quick. And for others, it can almost feel like they're not manifesting lightning quick. And that might be a result of more change would be needed to get the manifestation you desire. More initiation in the direction that you ultimately want to see a change in, or that you want to see a desire come to manifest in. But there's definitely energy right now that is like unstoppable force moving forward, and you have to own that within yourself and own exactly what that amazing guidance that's coming through you, that amazing calling is trying to push you in the direction of. And it could feel like a leap of faith, but it's like, gosh, if it matches your integrity and your character, why would you not take sort of a calculated risk? I don't know if it's necessarily just burning bridge down week. We are going to have Mars start to square Neptune. It'll get to 19 degrees of Sagittarius by Sunday and be pressing on that square to that 20 degree. Still pretty slow Neptune, but Neptune's getting ready to come to 21, starting to move again. And, we can be a little slow, a little watered down, if you will. Like, Neptune square Mars is not an easy transit that we're going to start feeling by the end of this week, especially with a Venus retrograde Cazimi, where we're getting this, this real solid blueprint of the relationships we need, of the ones that we don't need, of all the stuff that we value or that we don't value anymore, because so much deep-seated, almost even security needs have been resurrected to show us how we can create and make solid what we're looking for. And we can be a little lackadaisical, a little chill. I mean, chill's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good to be in a calm state, but it's also good to really know what you're after. I mean, Capricorn is go get it energy. Like, if you want it, you better pony up and put the work in and get it. Nothing comes to the ones who aren't willing to go get it, who aren't willing to achieve it. And maybe it's just about trying some things, getting your feet wet, getting a little, what's this taste like? What's this feel like? And started getting into your senses more about where that can take you, where that can build, where that can grow. Of course, we're in Capricorn, so it's not all just Jupiterian, but we do have Jupiter, in a very nice position here in Pisces, but it is starting off the week square the nodes. So there is something about a story that is getting expanded. But does it match the mission? And it's like, only you know if that's the case in your life. Only you know and you feel what is ultimately right for you. And I think that this comes to a somewhat critical point for dealing with maybe the wants and needs of somebody else, maybe the codependencies of somebody else, some other thing in life that you feel like you're ultimately kind of shackled to. Capricorn, the death card, always has the male, the masculine, and the feminine chained to the devil. And gosh, we can really chain ourselves to the wrong things when there's this liberating energy that's trying to show you that you're worth so much, that you came here to be everything that you really want to be, but the story has to change. And that's a big part of this as the South Node comes to 0 Sagittarius and is in square to the ruler of Sagittarius, and Jupiter disposits that South Node. Like, there's just a lot about past stories that we have binded and restricted ourselves from the greatest potential, from the greatest achievements, from the greatest relationships, all because of stories, all because of beliefs that have to change. They have to pivot. And the more that you're open to that, especially with Jupiter and Pisces, that very spiritual, emotional feeling of what makes sense to you and where you're at and what you want. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, this is the time in our lives where if you want it, you got to go get it. They're plain and simple. If there was ever a week, and it happens to be this week coming off a new year, if you want something, you got to do it. But you have to want it. And I think with a Venus retrograde and a Cazimi, it's really important for you to align with what your heart wants. And the more you align with what your heart wants, the more you're going to see the doors that are meant to open for you open, and the doors that are meant to close. But we don't want to be so attached to the belief of that story or that door or that anything as the end all be all. There is infinite potential around every door. Whether it's a door we hop into that we try out, that we get our feet wet, that we feel and it doesn't work out, but at least we can say we did it. At least we can say we tried it. And there's something about Capricorn that just has to try. You'll never reach the top of a mountain unless you try to get to the top of the mountain. And Saturn's picking up pace here in Aquarius. There's so many lessons around humanity right now. There's so many lessons around connection and really connecting to the things that you feel connected to. And it's about disconnecting from the things that you don't feel like you're part of anymore. If that doesn't feel like what you want to have group energy into, why are you building structure around your life and dedicating to something in your life that doesn't have the full connected potential and almost the uniqueness? Because there's one thing too that Saturn in Aquarius is trying to teach us, is that everybody in this collective is unique. And Uranus, even in square to that Saturn coming off their squares in Taurus, is like, yeah, guess what? And everybody's values are unique. And everybody's self-confidence is unique. And it's not about just being like everybody else. It's about being strong in your group of one to connect with who else is strong in a group of one. And that's how great connective communities are built, because multiple people have a common interest that all has their unique set built into it. And we have to accept humans. That's the big lesson here. We have to accept that people are going to connect to different parts of life, different parts of society, different routes. Different doorways are going to be open for different people. And the more we can accept that our doorway is right for us and that doorway was right for them, maybe just in the moment, because we don't know what ultimately comes from that. And we can try and have all the answers figured out and all the beliefs and all the I knows. Like, I know if you do that, it's not going to work. I know if I do this, it's going to work. We don't know shit. But it's not about knowing just what the outcome is going to be. It's about trying your best and achieving and moving forward. And if you have to take a step back to take 2 more steps forward, such is life. And such is Capricorn. But it teaches you responsibility and dedication. So what's the highest level of character that you want to dedicate to? What's the highest version of you that you want to dedicate to? And are you willing to hold the integrity of that character, to persevere and to strive and to accomplish these great dreams that you may have? Venus is also going to sextile over to Neptune, and the sun's going to get really close. It's going to come to 19 degrees by Sunday, and almost be in that sextile to Neptune too, with Mars in square on Sunday. That's going to be a big day. Coming into the following week, with the moon in Aries at 20 degrees, or 19, it'll come to 19, and make that first core square of the sun, which is 19. You know, it makes a 10, so it's more manifestation, but it's also like you have to act. And the first quarter square is even pointing that out even more. So much of this week is such a great dive, and we might go through all the emotions. Like that moon in Aquarius it's going to want to disconnect and not feel so much and kind of like dedicate as it meets with Saturn. It's going to come into Pisces. But before that, of course, it meets with Pluto and Venus. So then it's really getting into relationships and feeling what we can manifest. And then, oh gosh, exploring and investigating every bit down to the very bottom with Pluto. Then Saturn. Then it comes into Jupiter's home in Pisces here and tests our belief, squares the nodes, tests our faith. Do we have faith to charge forward this week with what we know inwardly is going to show us abundance and beauty and magic? This is about dedicating to magic. Why would you want to dedicate to something that's not going to bring some dream to life for you? I mean, when you get sextiles from Capricorn to Pisces, especially with Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter, the other ruler of Pisces, in Pisces, and you get these Capricorn sextiles, these are great aspects that are like, you can create dreams in your life. You can make dreams come true. Dreams don't always have to be just a figment and gone. They don't always have to be like a mirage, like, oh gosh, once I get there, it'll just disappear. I mean, life works how life works. Not everything is meant to happen. But again, it comes back to, if you want to see that mirage, if it's real or fake, well, what do you have to do? You have to walk to it, get to it, hike to it, dedicate to the mission. And I think that that's an amazing thing, because when it comes down to it, we're all human. Trial and error is so human. We are in very Aquarian times. Saturn, Jupiter just left, but they did meet there for a 20-year cycle on the solstice of 2020. We have to experiment with what's going to be the greatest connection. We have to try new things. That's the only way to innovate our life over the next 20 years. And I feel like now we're starting to see how we can innovate the dream and to dedicate to it and to make it happen. But again, this is where that forward progression and that action is necessary. And again, Mars square Neptune is like, that'll never happen. That's impossible. I only believe this is the outcome, and that's just a story. There's nothing there. And it can also be, I want something so bad. Venus was with Pluto for a whole month, and I have a deep desire for what I need, and I'm attached to it. But we also get the Sun Venus this week, which is like, that Cazimi is like, you know what's real and what's not, but you have to trust how you feel. Like, this is it's just deeper than surface level, but it's that deepness that gets the surface level to come to fruition. You have to know what you kind of desire and are willing to work for right now, and at least go for it. It's not a mirage until you get to it, and it's a mirage. And that's the best advice I could give anybody right now who's like, oh, but I don't know, is this going to work? I don't know either. I have big goals and ambitions. I don't know if they're going to work, but this is where faith comes into it with Jupiter and Pisces. Faith. You have to trust something in life. Why not trust yourself first and foremost? Venus retrograde. Become secure within yourself and what you feel your mission is and what you want. But then God, the universe, that if it's meant to be on your path, it'll be on your path. And if not, that's okay. We have an ego for a reason. Mars is here. Like, we're going to charge into things. We're going to go far and wide with a Mars in Sag. And that's okay. So don't be thinking that whatever you want right now is just an illusion. This is where we have to get out of those stories and have faith that as long as we are trying and doing to get what we ultimately desire, that there can be something real there. So don't think that something's impossible right now, because we got to change our stories. We got to change our mindset and our philosophies about what is possible and what isn't possible. So much is possible in this reality. It blows my mind every day. Like, the possibilities are endless, and we can tell ourselves so many stories and feel so restrained and trapped to something. And this is a beautiful time to remember that you can change anything you want, any environment you need to have a more connected reality with more connected people that fits your highest character, that fits your mission, and you fit their mission. You don't have to fit into anybody's box, and nobody has to fit into your box. And faith will do a lot for us. I know the South Node's been in Sag for a long time, and it's been like, well, we can't just hope and dream right now. You know? And there's a lot of truth to that, but we're almost out of that. So I think we're coming to this powerful point of realizing that if we were able to adapt and pivot our beliefs for something more true now, that there are possibilities out there, that magic can come to life at our will. We came here to manifest. We came here to create things. We came here to achieve. We came here to connect. We came here to build. We came here to grow, to love, to relate, to become firm in ourselves. Because maybe everything outside of that feeling within ourselves and that connectedness is really the biggest illusion. And maybe this is where we become very lucid in our dreams, lucid in our living dreams. And we start to dedicate and make really powerful choices for where we can go this year. This is, I'm pretty stoked on this week, as you can tell. When I feel into the energy, I'm very excited. So I think we can all be starting a lot in some way, shape, or form for where we're trying to reach higher in life for ourselves, where we're trying to connect more, where we're trying to relate better. Of course, relating to ourselves and our missions and our highest potential is so important right now. With this Venus retrograde Cazimi this week, and even sextiles over to Neptune, we don't want to be so disillusioned from our own dreams that we forget that we can achieve them. Yes, you know, there's a risk and reward to everything in life. We might have to cut ties with something to get what we ultimately want, but this is life, and Pluto is teaching us a lot about that at these high degrees of Capricorn, and that if you want more, sometimes you have to take a little bit off. And we can want to, definitely hold on to everything that's gotten us to some point in life. But there's really amazing things. We have to look at, I think, this year, 2022, as a great playground. It's an amazing playground where there are so many possibilities, and you can create so much and achieve so many things. Whatever it is that you're really looking for in life, from the vibration that you're at, from the character that you're at, the person, the human that you're at right now, all those things that you ultimately really want are not an illusion. But it's about stepping up this week to the plate to manifest these things, to really feel within your gut and your heart that it's possible, and to not overthink. We can overthink ourselves out of acting, out of exploring possibilities because of a belief or a story that it's not. But the more we shift our perspective into seeing that there's so much more truth to the unimaginable, the more we find something extremely special. And I hope that helps people this week to really feel into what they want to go get it. I think, yeah, it's kind of a shorter horoscope, but that's like, I don't really know what else to add. And that just came really good. So I think that's just going to call it. And, yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I hope that you're feeling good too, and excited for this year, and excited for this, last couple weeks here at Capricorn season, because this is such a powerful time of what you want to dedicate to. And instead of focusing on so many things that was, whether it's just any part of society that you don't resonate with, we need to stop focusing on that, because that's going to be a lesson too with this South Node coming into Scorpio in a couple weeks, is we got to stop worrying so much about what everybody else is doing, what everybody else thinks the world's like. What do you think it's like? And are you ready to build a reality that matches that? This is the time to dedicate to that. And you kind of got to be a savage to do that in this day and age. And I know you guys are. See what the card, I'll pull a couple cards, is for the week. Four of Swords. Ironic. This is such a rest and renewal card in the traditional tarot, but something about this card in this deck is more like it's time to put yourself on a pedestal in life, in your raw, authentic beauty, and start to create what you know can be real, and to stop tricking yourself. And maybe it does take a little rest. Maybe it does take a little bit this week to kind of really figure out what we're dedicating to, and to feel what we're dedicating to. And then it's kind of go time. But we'll see what else we get, because I don't feel like that's the whole story. Yeah, 8 of Pentacles upright. This is all about you mastering life, mastering reality. But it takes work. It takes dedication. And it takes trial and error. You think he got every one of these coins perfectly right first try? No. He worked and worked and worked and worked and worked to get them the way he wanted it, to get the tools right, to get everything dialed in. I feel like this is a week of dialing in what it is we really want, and not tricking ourselves mentally, but to really put yourself first. What do you want to dedicate to? What do you want to build? And then just start cranking it out. And the final overall for this is the 6 of Wands upright. I love these cards this week, actually. 6 of Wands, baby. Maybe we ascend to the biggest victory of our life this week, and all of a sudden something becomes very clear about what we desire, and what we can have, and what we want, and how to create that. And it starts from really following our heart, but we also have to know we're victorious. You have to know within yourself, if you want to get to the top of whatever it is, if you want to start something, that it's not a dream and it can be real, and you have to treat yourself and put that intent out there like you already want it. And then put the work in. And then not trick yourself mentally this week, because maybe something else wants you to do something else, or something else believes something has to look a certain way, or you believe it has to look a certain way, or it's always looked this way. Victory favors the bold, as they say. So be bold this week. And if you need to take some time to figure out what you need to be bold for, I think that's perfectly okay. But it's this is a time of getting serious about what you want to create, and then doing everything in your power to create that. I love you all very much. I hope you have a beautiful week. I'll see you for the daily horoscopes and more. Much love. Peace.